Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. And I mean, we got something special here for you to see and listen to. We got 2 sections of shows coming on here. So whatever you're doing, put it down and get to that TV, because this is something you haven't seen before. Welcome, John Kennedy, Bomadou. I think I got the great artist from National Harbor. Mr. Bomadou just returned from a trip. He's going to talk about it. We got some of his beautiful artwork here we're going to span to, and he'll be able to explain some of it to you. Tell us about it, John. Just how did you get involved? And you're from Nigeria, too.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
You were born in Nigeria and all of that.
First
Okay.
of all, let me say thank you so much, Mr. Brown, for having me today. It is a thrill to be here with you. Look forward to this, as we've talked about this over the past few months. And, you know, yes, you're correct. I just came back from West Africa. I reside half the year in Ghana. And I'm born in Nigeria, West Africa, the largest populated country on the continent, and very, very proud of that. And I chose Ghana because of the peace and relaxation of life and the ability to have a larger stake at the table. And boy, it's probably been 15 years since I've been doing tourism to and from the United States to West Africa, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria. So now I go back and forth 4 or 5 times a year, work with youngsters to produce all kinds of unique, one-of-a-kind artwork.
Is that how you got into it? You were fiddling around at home and decided, hey, this art thing is beautiful.
It is beautiful now, but it's a little different for me. I started out as a tourist. I wanted to find places and show my friends in America, because you hear so much negativity about Africa.
Always,
and growing up in this country and going to school in America and working for, you know, great company like Marriott when I was young, I just heard things like, oh my gosh, you know, this can't be, and it wasn't ever the equal playing field. And my eyes were always opened, especially for my first trip back to the continent, which was 1988. So I'd been in this country for almost 16 years, and I finally had enough money saved up, worked 2 years with Marriott, saved up my money, had my first vacation to go home, and I saw so many American and European companies, and I was kind of astonished that, hey, you know, you've got BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Benson Hedges, Johnny Walker. You've got all these companies that are doing business in Africa. And I said, well, why are we not? Why do I hear only negativity? But you guys are all here.
Yeah.
So I started writing down, and then I sat down with 3 of my sheroes, who I later represent in a carving here, which I'll show you. My mother, my grandmother, and my aunties. And I said, ladies, if you had a chance to start your own conglomeration, what would you do? And my aunt, who's a reverend sister, said I would work with children of the world. I said, okay. And then my grandmother said, well, don't forget your ancestors and where we came from. So I said, okay. And then my mother said, work together with your people. So I combined all those ideas to this beautiful statue that we'll discuss in a little bit, called the Motherland.
Okay.
So what I've done now is I incorporated business way back in '93 and left the corporate world back in 1996, and it really wasn't about a product. Back then I didn't have a product. I didn't know what God had blessed me with. And now all of a sudden, you know, 15 or so years later, here we are.
Okay,
I've made 65 trips back to the motherland since then.
Is that right? Fantastic. Now, what we want to do is see some of this work. What we're going to do is show you all. Now, this is not to substitute you going to the National Harbor. This is just to show you what you're missing. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to have John to explain some of the beautiful artwork that he has here. Just a moment. Okay, John, tell us a little bit about these art pieces.
We're going to start with the piece that we just discussed, which was the Motherland. It's the women of the world connected to the ancestors, holding up the children. So this is a wooden structure that we kind of coined back in the day. And every year, the village that makes this in Kumasi, Ghana, actually produces a different version. So this is year 10 now. And we are now, it used to be a solid ball up here, then we decided to put the egg of life, which she carries. So I'm going to repeat that to you. That was the children of the world, which my Reverend Sister Nun gave me the idea, connected to the ancestors, which is what Grandma talked about, and us working together as one, which is what my mother talked about, and then I've added the egg of life. So it becomes kind of a brain teaser. How do we get that egg? How do we get that ball in there?
Right. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to let them come down there and look at it and let you explain it while you go to these beautiful paintings. I don't want them to miss anything.
No.
Okay,
these paintings, the one right here up top is Celebration of Jazz. These are hand-woven silk thread art. A lot of us are not familiar with the silk thread, but it's called ashoke. Ashoke is the Nigerian material that a lot of us wear in our outfits. You see the embroidery here. This one is machine done. We do this by hand, one piece of silk string at a time, painstakingly done with the light adhesive underneath it. We then lay it down, and then we use a wooden cookie roller-like instrument to roll it flat and put one piece of string and just keep changing directions to give it the illusion of depth and almost 2 or 3D after a while.
And all of these things that you're telling about, when individuals come down there, you explain
Absolutely.
the process and see what has to happen. The individuals need to take time to go down to National Harbor and see this and get the explanation about it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go to the next one.
Okay, and the one on the top here is a village scene, and that's a frame version. So that's how you will see them at the harbor. I just brought a few unframed, but this is how we finally frame it here with our expert framers here in the Washington, D.C. area. That's just a depiction of the village with the Big Mama in the middle, and she has her girls picking out fish for her and fruits and vegetables. The one below that is New Orleans Jazz, just a little theme right over your shoulder, Doc. And then on the table here, we have one of our zebra masks, which is something quite beautiful and unique. I brought that because of the color structure. Our young people in Ghana are able to make all types of things. These we make ourselves. I'm not really into museum quality where it's coming from some village from 200 years ago. We make these ourselves. I can pass the history right back on to the folks who make them. This is something I just did for an NBA young lady from the University of Temple who graduated. It's just a basketball plaque, and you can imagine where we can go with this with all of our youngsters who like, basketball and all kinds of sports. But this is something that's just a tree bark. It's the inside of the tree.
No kidding.
And you can see how the young people have carved.
And that's one piece.
That's one piece.
What?
And speaking of one piece, this is our signature at our gallery. This is called Unity in Family. Speaking of one piece, this whole thing here is one tree trunk, and this is the basis.
One tree trunk?
One tree trunk, sir.
Well, how do you get it to interchange like that?
That's the secret. That's the secret right
so
there.
the only way you're going to find that out is come down there and you tell them about
visit
it.
us at the National Harbor on your entrance as you come in on the left-hand side, right next to Harley-Davidson T-Mobile. Come by and see us. We are enjoying this. It's our 3rd year there at the harbor. It's a great location, and I hope we get to see you all. And when you do, we'll give everybody.
You heard that.
So, no, I thank you. I'll go ahead and tell you a little bit more about what we're doing at the harbor. We have about 2,850 square feet of space. We have the ability to have events. We've had some of the political candidates out to see us this year. We've had jazz receptions. We have a book signing next week on the 24th. So the whole idea is we want to use the place to educate our young people, educate our parents.
Great.
It's got to be an opportunity where people out here utilize the tools in front of them so that we can present knowledge, especially to the next generation. Enough of this, I'm just going to the internet to research something. We need to go ahead and come out, put your hands on something, touch it, feel it, and truly understand that young people in our youth program in Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, Ivory Coast are making these items. We take our proceeds, we put back into their hands, and we do it all over again. And this is year 15. After this.
Fantastic.
Thank you, sir.
And how do you form? You form in different art classes with the young people?
Well, what we do, absolutely.
In Prince George's County.
Prince George's County. We are open to all of the schools, all of the churches, youth development programs, PTA associations to contact us, and we'd be happy to set up tours.